Domestic matters, and the federal government is moving to get children under 10 out of immigration detention by the end of the year. The immigration minister denies the move's been motivated by calls from some Senate crossbenchers to do so. He says it's been underway for some time, but the government first had to solve a problem with support for children on bridging visas.
The arrangements for protection and support for families with young children in those circumstances just simply weren't sufficient. To place children at that age in the community on bridging visas would place them at risk, and that is the advice that I received. In response to that, we have developed a set of measures that will address the weaknesses that were in place for those bridging visas, that will provide the support and the protection that will enable us now to put children under the age of 10 with their families on bridging visas and release them into the community. Now, this policy will relate to all of those who arrived before the 19th of July of last year. It'll apply to those who are currently still in held detention, of which there is more than 150 still, and it'll apply to those who are also in community-based residential detention. We have been working on this policy now for some months. People in detention, I would hope, would be aware that the government was working to get them out of detention, and we've had success in doing that in getting children and families into community detention. It's accommodation, it's making sure they get to school, there's some transport issues that need to be dealt with, there's access to English language courses that support this arrangement, an improved orientation program, and a much more expanded caseworker management process for those who are in the community, so we can keep a close eye on people to make sure that their welfare is okay, and in emergency cases there are relief payments and things like that that can be done to support people in distress. We intend to have those remaining in held detention out by the end of the year. Well, they'll be processed and they'll be assessed as to whether they're refugees or not, and if they're found to be refugees, then it's the government's policy that they would not get a permanent visa, but they would get a temporary visa, which would mean they'd be temporarily given residence in Australia. Those found not to be refugees will go home. Now, offshore processing and resettlement will remain the policy for those who turned up after the 19th of July. And it is not possible for the government to see a watering down of that arrangement and put at risk the strong border protection measures that have been so successful in ensuring that children don't get on boats in the first place.